inability to submit to authority in the world in any form or fashion. And that's what the Lord is talking about, the Lord Jesus, in Luke chapter 20, in the parable of the... A lot of details, but ultimately, so in that gospel text today, this problem of God's authority, specifically through prior to chapter 20, you see all kinds of ways that they have gone against and refuted Jesus being the authority, Him being God. And it's all about to boil over, and it will boil over right after chapter 20 here. It'll boil over in another week in our church calendar during Holy Week as we see Jesus go to the cross, as they will not submit to His authority. This going against God's authority in the Gospel of Luke, His own children, these are not people who didn't know who God was. So He's talking to us, okay? If you go through the Gospel of Luke, you see all kinds of ways that people had said, to God's own children had said to Jesus, you don't have authority, or we're not going to submit to that authority, because it's not the kind of authority that I want in my life. In chapter 5, starting at verse 17, Jesus heals a paralyzed man. You know this story. It's when they lower the man through the roof of the house because it's all crowded because Jesus is there. They lower him through. Jesus heals him, tells him to pick up his mat and go. And what do they say? Who gives you the authority to do this? Only God can forgive sins. So they don't think He has the authority to forgive sins. And later on in chapter 5, starting in verse 33, Jesus is with His disciples, and the Pharisees and the scribes and the Sadducees, they notice that Jesus and His disciples aren't following the traditional fasting rituals that Jews followed during those days, the ones that were added on to from the biblical account. And they say to Jesus, why don't you and your disciples follow these fasting rituals? Who gives you